Dr. Pillsbury, you spoke of China's rise to the top of the world by the middle of the next decade. Dr. Jaishankar, Prime Minister Modi, and the Indian government are working towards what they call Amrit Kal, the rise of India to the top. How do you square these two things off, given the fact that you're estimating China will rise, and many like Morgan Stanley are thinking that India is witnessing a once-in-a-generation rise in global power? Dr. Pillsbury.
You know, I would say that the world is watching the India moment. The Indian political leadership has within its hands the chance to be sure that the world is not ruled by a dominant number one, China. In many ways, it's up to India to decide what to do. And it's very scary, if I could use that word, to see Rahul Gandhi's comments about China. We have a few people in America who think the way Rahul Gandhi apparently thinks about China, that harmony is the key feature of that country. Almost all those people, the old Panda Huggers, they have changed their minds. They have come alive. They realize there's a global challenge from China. And if you carefully read Dr. Jaishankar's book, The India Way, you will see in there his proposal that India should play a shaping role in the global order, partly as a voice for the global South, but for other reasons as well. The reaction in China to Dr. Jaishankar's book is very negative. They don't like the idea that India could play a role speaking for the global South. They believe that's China's responsibility. So this challenge for the future of the India-China relationship, that's something I wish I had devoted more time to many years ago. But I now see India as the world's chance to be sure that China does not become a dominant, aggressive, and dictatorial society.
That's interesting. I also see we have a bit of a mutual admiration club here. Dr. Pillsbury, when he came yesterday, carried Dr. Jaishankar's book, The India Way. And I just heard from Dr. Jaishankar before we started this session that in the last several years, he's probably gifted more copies of your book than anybody else. So you got a good representative here because he wants people to read what you're writing. In fact, the very interesting thing, and I want to refer to some parts of The India Way.
We need to give both the books to Rahul Gandhi.
Now, the very interesting thing about The India Way, and I refer to this just for those who haven't had the opportunity to read Dr. Jaishankar's book, is that you have a theorist, you have a strategic affairs expert who's also shaping India's foreign policy. And so much of what I grew up reading, and so many other people would have read Western thought or Chinese thought, but you're not really linking back the strategic acumen from the Arthashastra, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, and bringing it to an Indian doctrine, an Indian strategic way of thinking, which is what Dr. Jaishankar tries to do. So, and it's also a great opportunity to engage and debate and challenge you to some questions about balance of power. In the US, elsewhere, Russia, Beijing, there's a lot of thought and balance of power. And national security doctrines are well documented, public documents which can be debated and discussed. In India, it stays largely within cupboards in South Block. It's not public. I want your assessment, Dr. Jaishankar, about India's comprehensive national power at this moment and your projection of the climb. If you were to rank countries, where do you think India stands at this moment in terms of its comprehensive national power? Where do you see it by the end of this decade?
You know, first of all, I just want to pick up a little bit on what you were saying, which is to develop our own, draw on our own traditions, you know, develop our own narratives, arguments, etc. Because when you speak about comprehensive national power, I mean, in a sense, there are a certain set of metrics that we take, and I think nobody would dispute the fact that there are many areas, many domains where we have fallen short. We could have done very much better over many years. And I see today, you know, this country, I say, I mean, not necessarily this government, doesn't have to be a political party. This entire country actually today making that effort. You know, as someone who travels around, you know, for me, it's a very small change, but a very important change I see. When you go to many educational institutions today in India, I go as a minister, they would normally say, this is the gold medalist of our university. Today, they actually say, you know, these 4 people, they are patent holders from our institution. These 5 people, you know, they have inventions they would like to show you. So this country, this society is changing, the younger generation even more so. And we are getting very, very global, much faster than people think. So I am finding, you know, before I came in here, your social media person asked me saying, you know, you are very visible on the social media. It's not because the foreign minister is doing something different alone. It's also because the society has changed and is relating and interacting with that in a very different way. Your question, where do we go? Look, I am absolutely, I think
where do you stand at this moment? Let's start from there, in your estimate.
We stand fairly high because if you take the totality, the comprehensive national power is a kind of a net assessment of our capabilities. But I would say that if we do need today to develop the technologies, to develop the industrial capabilities, you know, it angers me when I hear talk that, you know, we are a services economy, because that's a cop-out. When I see, you know, something like, say, a 5G deployment of Indian technology,